Hello everyone, we have a rare appearance of the Black Gatomon. Hello Piggy. She is here to help us and talking about, well, Digimon Con. And while we didn't get maybe as many things as we might have expected to get at Digimon Con, well, there are some things we actually did get. So, one of those things that we got quite a bit of information about is Digimon Liberator. Now, if you've been paying attention to much of what's been going on my channel, I've covered a lot of this up until now, but there are indeed some new things that came out as well. So, I figure we'll go through each of the sections that gave us anything interesting and talk about it here today. Oh, are you done? Okay. So, Digimon Liberator, as many of you know, is a webcomic that is coming that is heavily tied to the Digimon Card Game. There is now another trailer that came out during Digimon Con 2024 that gave us a little bit more information looking through it. We can see that throughout it, our main character Shoto appears to be working with a Muchomon at first. Now, whether that's just a part of he's got an avian deck, so he has a Muchomon in there, or it's something more, I do not know yet. And the words, a Digimon that shouldn't appear, happens. And we see Shoto with a card, and Teromon shows up. So, is Teromon something that doesn't exist in the world, and suddenly is there? It is something that seems to be implied. And it even shows off forms of his that are not what we think is his champion form, but possibly even forms beyond. So this is going into spoiler territory about his forms. Well, we'll get even more into spoiler territory about his forms later that they showed at the con as well. And it also shows that many of the NPCs and things that he was fighting actually show us using Blucomon's line, which for many of you out there, you may have never seen this icy dragon, who's actually a really cool line, one that I quite enjoy. I mean, I'm biased towards Dragon's Roar. But besides that, the other main piece of information that came from this trailer, and they told us there, is that the webcomic will begin publication April 25th of this year. So it's going to be a little over a month before we start getting another Digimon story. Until that point, because Seekers did put out its epilogue 1, and that's all we got there. So, what is Digimon Liberator? It is the webcomic. It is a vertical scrolling comic, which you can see here based on the prologue issue that came out right after Digimon Con that you can go over to their website right now and take a look at. It is very brief. It really does not tell us much of anything. It just gives us our very first look at some of the characters that will be involved. Mainly Owen, Zenith, and Shoto. The ones that were partially introduced at least on their website already. And in the trailer, we can see them here with their partners. Teromon, and still unknown and purposely, I bet, pixelated, Pink Digimon, and Venmon. For those of you who are familiar with Digimon World 3, this Digimon will be familiar to you. This webcomic will be released in English and simplified Chinese, which is exactly what they told us for Digimon Seekers. And for any of you that tried to read Digimon Seekers, myself included, I did make it through it all, I hope that means that it will be done well. Digimon Dreamers has been translated very well, so I do have some hope that it will be, for the comic at least, will be well translated. Why do I clarify for the comic? Well, what was also announced is we're getting a web novel that is also based off of this same universe, but it will be using entirely different characters, which we were introduced to Yuki, which for Digimon, having a female main character is very unusual. It may very well be the very first time in a main anime, at least, well, this isn't anime, in one of their main stories that we've had a female protagonist. I mean, sure, in Cyber Sleuth and Next Order and Dawn and Dust, you could pick a female character, but that's a little different, I think. Now, don't get me wrong, I love seeing it, but you can have just as easily a female character or a male character that's written poorly. I just hope that it's a good story. And we are introduced to her partner, Impmon, which has been around forever. Though they did tease us at Digimon Con that he may very well not go down the Beelzemon line, but become something else. With a female protagonist, some have thought that maybe we'll be getting a Beelstarmon then instead. It's certainly a possibility. There will be starter decks and other cards coming out alongside of this, which will be coming out quite a bit later. We'll go a little more into the card game stuff, because that also got quite a bit in another video. This is just about Digimon Liberator for those of you who are interested in the comic and apparently web novel that are coming out. Do keep in mind that the web novel was not giving a for sure release date. I'm assuming it will be released relatively close to the April 25th date of the comic, but as I've said, there is no for sure about this. The other main thing that they showed off about Liberator is they showed off a lot of forms. They showed off the Ultimate and Mega forms for Terramon and Shumon, our two of our new Digimon. I will go through and at least show them here and really briefly kind of talk about some of them. So, if you do not want to be spoiled, here I will put a timestamp into here. Skip ahead to that where we'll get into our quick outro after all of this is done. Okay, you have been warned. All right, let's look into these really quick so that we can talk about just a little bit of what these forms are. We have an in-training form. This one I was not so upset that they spoiled. In-trainings aren't as big of a deal. This is Fluffy Mon. This is Terramon's in-training looking very cute. But moving on past that, we got some that are quite a bit more spoilery. We have Grand Galemon, which I'm assuming would be the ultimate form that for this line. It looks pretty impressive. It's a knight. I do generally like the design. And then we have Zephagamon. Sure, we'll go with that pronunciation until I know differently. And this, once again, has been what we have gotten from so many new megas so often recently. It's kind of annoying me at this point. It's just another humanoid with some weapons. I mean, it just looks like so many of Siriusmon, Dear Rabbitmon, Amphimon that we got in the last season. This is just the default that we go to for megas now. I was hoping to see something a little more different. As we move over into the Shumon line, we have the ultimate of Chaperomon, which, as many people point out, is Red Riding Hood. This appears to be a line that just goes down a bunch of different fairy tale kind of creatures. It's a rather unorthodox bouncing back and forth line, which, don't get me wrong, Digimon does all the time. That's not that uncommon. And finally, we have Cindrilmon, which is Cinderella, especially has all the mice around. Very much makes sense. And once again, just like the other one, is a human in a cosplay. So that's that. Supposedly, the reason that they spoiled these forms in Digimon Con is within the very first issue, we will have seen all of these forms, is what they seem to be hinting at. Which, okay, but to me, a large part of the excitement of meeting new Digimon and going through their story is learning their new forms and not spoiling them in cards and VPATs and everything beforehand. But we know this is Japan. They don't care about that. So, as our quick recap, we will be getting Digimon Liberator webcomics starting in April 25th of this year. The web novel that is also coming out based on the same universe but different characters will likely come out at a similar time, but we don't know. And its main character will be Yuki and Impmon. This will be available in English and Chinese, and you can go on their website right now to start looking at the prologue issue and get yourself started diving into the world of Digimon Liberator. Will it be something amazing and great to tide us over because there's no news of a game or an anime? We shall see. Well, thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Always remember to be awesome, everyone. Till the next one, take care. Bye.